Everybody, it's Jeff and Ron once again with the sense of things. On today's show, we've got, of course, our week in history. Ron's got a fun call that he made earlier in the year that he's going to report on, and he's got some information on M&A. We had a bunch of economic data that came out this morning that I'm going to cover from Econo Day, everything from GDP to PCE to MOUSE. And we'll go over all that today, so stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a second. Everybody, welcome to the show. Ron, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. It keeps chugging along. SpaceX IPO is done, and now we got all the storage and everything else. It's amazing. People were talking about, oh, yeah, we always needed storage. Those stocks did barely anything in
For
the
a
prior
long
2 or 3 years. Why
Yeah.
more so in the last 3 to 6 months? I have no idea. But Micron, that was 10 years ago. That was a $10, $15 stock. And
Yep.
if it went up $2, it was like, hey, you know what? Yep, they had a great, it's insane now. It's
Yeah.
up 280% in less than a year or year to date or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
And what makes me laugh, I've gotten to the point I don't even watch the market during the day sometimes because 2 days ago the market was down massively because the AI trades all over, and then Micron has a great quarter. Oh my God, AI is back. I'd really like to invest in Prozac because I think the market needs it more than anything.
Yeah, but you know what? The financial media and all the websites, they need to talk about something. So it's whatever's trending.
Of
And,
course.
or if they don't know what to talk about, the default fallback is talk about AI.
Yeah. Remember when we were growing up in this business too, it was always if the market went down, the answer was it's profit taking. No kidding.
I
You
like
were
the one,
sharing.
where's the money going to come from? That's why this is going down because people are raising money to go to. You don't know that.
Yeah.
And they're talking about all this money on the sideline. It's got to go somewhere. Maybe that's where it's going.
Yeah.
I can't stand listening to these people that they think they know where the shift of money is going. You don't know.
You have no clue.
You do, yeah, you
Yeah.
have no idea. So they're talking about with Anthropic and OpenAI. Well, where's that money going to come from? People are going to have to sell something. No, maybe they just have other cash that
Yeah.
they're going to put into it. You
That they
don't
have
know.
money on the side. Yeah. And once again, and I think we're already seeing the guilt come off the lily a little bit with SpaceX. Everybody's like, oh my God, we have to pile into this trade. And then things gotten just pounded for a week now where it's okay. It is so far overblown. It was so far overblown when it started. It's gonna come crashing back down to some point. And we looked at that a couple weeks ago. If you didn't see the show, watch about 2 weeks back when Ron went through the history of a lot of these IPOs and really big, well-known IPOs, not just junk that's coming out. You got to watch these things. And as much as I love Anthropic and I run a big chunk of my business on Anthropic or on Claude, it's still, I think it's going to be overblown and it'll come crashing back down. And then eventually there'll be an
Well, just
opportunity, I
think
think,
about
to
it.
buy it
SpaceX is
more.
down over 30% from its
Yeah,
high.
yeah, yeah.
I hear you. All right,
Nuts.
let's get into it. So there were some interesting things in this week in history. Get this thing out here. All right, here we go. So Congress passes the Mann Act in 1910, aimed to curb sex trafficking. I thought that was
Okay.
interesting. I'd heard of the Mann Act. I didn't know when it was done.
I didn't realize there was that much sex trafficking going on in the 1910s, but
Oh,
okay.
I'm sure it was much worse. Think about
I-
all the crap that was going on during the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. They were
yeah,
bringing women over from
from
Europe and
China and
Asia, and
yeah,
then they were dying. They didn't even live here 6 months. I don't even want
yeah.
to talk about it. Terrible. 1941, FDR signs order banning discrimination in defense industry against
Interesting.
ethnicity and race. I thought that was interesting. I had
Sweet.
no
I had
idea.
no clue. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Nope. 1941, British intelligence breaks German Enigma used on the
Cool.
Eastern Front. I got to tell you, I wasn't crazy about that movie they did a few years ago. I thought it was very Hollywood, but
Yeah.
there's a really good book called, I think it's called Hut 8.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. I love all that analytical stuff. I think it's called Hut 8. And if you go
Mhm.
over, it's at Bleckley. They
Yeah.
will actually show you the original machine. It looks like one of those UNIVAC computers from the 50s.
And it's
It's
got
I
like
don't even, it
wires and
looks
now
like a bunch
it's
of
just,
dials.
yeah, it's dials and wires and everything. Yeah, it's one side of it's all dials and all that. And you turn around the backside and it's just an open thing with all these wires plugged into all these different things. And yeah,
Looks like an
it was
oversized tube TV from 50 years
pretty
ago.
impressive. But the other fact is how complicated that Enigma machine really was in something very compact.
To think of how brilliant the people were that did that, they had no basis to go on. Oh, this is how they did it 10. No,
No,
this was brand new encryption code breaking.
yep,
FDR signs the GI Bill
interesting.
to help basically military people after their military service get established out there for education. I thought the big one here was health benefits, things
Mm.
like that. I thought that was very interesting. I was actually
I
reading
didn't
that
realize it was
article.
in 44. I thought it was after the war, but yeah, I guess he was the one that signed it and he was wasn't
And I
alive
still
much
don't
longer.
understand the Korean War. Even after all these years and watching all the episodes of MASH, I
Yeah.
still don't understand why we truly got into the look. I know about Vietnam War, right? But I still don't understand the Korean War.
I
It
don't
doesn't
think
make a lot of
really
sense to
anybody
me.
understands it because it basically was just this gigantic stalemate. And the interesting thing is the war has never ended. It's just been in a
Well, they still got the
truce.
DMZ there, I mean, and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yep.
1965, Mr. Tambourine Man is released by the Byrds. Now, I know this. Most people should know this. Who originally wrote the song?
His only number one song. I don't know. That
Bob Dylan.
really
And rather
interesting.
ironically, with all of the songs that Bob Dylan wrote,
He's never had
this song redone by the Byrds was the only number one song by him. And
that is
rather ironically,
shocking
if
to
you
me.
listen to his version, it is
Yeah.
very different than what Roger McGuinn and the Byrds did with Mr. Tambourine Man.
Yeah.
Because he used a 12-string acoustic and Bob Dylan used a 6-string, but it was in a different cadence. If you listen to it, two very different songs.
Anything Bob Dylan does is very different from everybody
Yeah. The
else.
other thing too is one of the Monkees' biggest hits was Daydream Believer. Know who wrote that song?
Shit, I do. I can't think of the name though.
Neil Diamond. And
Really?
if
Oh,
you heard Neil Diamond's version of it, it's very different than the Monkees' version. So there you go. All right. A little bit of rock history. 1972, Haldeman, in a very smart decision, encourages Nixon on tape to thwart FBI inquiry into Watergate, and so the downfall begins.
yep.
I wonder if they actually came out in the beginning and didn't cover up, would he have just been censured and it would have been swept under the rug? I thought that would have been interesting. Because from what I
Yeah,
understand, Nixon knew about, he didn't order it, but he
mm,
knew about it after the
yep.
fact. So he could have basically have just,
He could have denied it and said, I found
yeah,
out about
I
it and I
wonder if he
told
would have
them.
just come out and would have just gotten swept. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's funny. I read Clint, God, what is his name?
Gordon
Dang, I
Liddy?
can't. Oh, so Clint Howard, I think it was, he was basically on the presidential protection for
Oh,
five
yeah, he was the
presidents.
one that jumped on the limousine when Kennedy got
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah,
He just
exactly. He's
died
the
a
one that
couple of
put, yeah, he's the one that puts Mrs.
Clint Hill,
Kennedy
I think
back
his
in.
name was.
Yeah, Clint Hill. Yeah, in five presidents, but it's funny when you hear him talk about Nixon, how much he really disliked Nixon. You can, and all of them did. They just really could not stand him because he was such a paranoid little freak
Well, the funny
that,
thing was, and we can get off of this, they didn't have to do the bugging of the Democratic National Committee in 72. He already had the poll
yep,
to basically, and he ended up winning in 72 in a landslide.
by a
He
lot.
didn't
Yeah,
need to bug to gain any information, but that's how
yep,
paranoid he was.
yep,
All right,
absolutely.
hold on. Okay, here we go. 1974, pack of chewing gum becomes first ever item scanned with a
Interesting.
UPC code, barcode.
Interesting.
I read this, I'm like, oh, I got to put this in there.
It's got to be there.
But think about it, that was only 52 years ago.
I
And
know.
think about it now that if you didn't have a barcode, you had to price everything out. They had to put everything in. Now they just, can you imagine how long it would take at a supermarket now with a full basket of goods?
I know how long it takes going to Hobby Lobby with my wife. because they do not use UPC codes at all. They
Oh,
key every damn thing in, and it takes forever to get
interesting.
out of there.
There you go. Pack of chewing gum. All right. 1982, John, who attempted to
Hmm.
assassinate Ronald Reagan, found not guilty, obviously, by insanity. He actually just got released a couple
Yeah.
of years ago. A lot of people don't realize that. Just out of curiosity, do you know his reason that he gave for basically wanting to assassinate
He
Ronald
wanted, yeah,
Reagan?
he
He
wanted to
wanted to
impress,
impress somebody. Do you remember who
yeah,
it was?
what's her face?
Actress?
Yes, I can picture Jodie Foster.
There you go, my man.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was an interesting thing because he actually was in a college class with her.
No, he
That's
wasn't.
where,
No, she was
oh,
going to Princeton, and he found out what dorm and what floor she was on, and he was calling the payphone and talking to her, and she couldn't take because she couldn't
but I think he was also auditing courses that she was in too, if I remember correctly.
yeah, he didn't go to Princeton, my man.
Yeah,
I think he was living in Hawaii, if I remember correctly, because they had kind of traced his steps when he went to
yeah,
DC.
yeah.
1992, Mafia. Oh, sorry, that should be
Yep.
Boss, not Box. Excuse
Yeah.
me. John Gotti, the Teflon Don, was sentenced to life. I
Well,
got to tell you, I've
okay.
seen so many documentaries about how they got him. It was brilliant. They were working on this for years, and I'm not. There's no time to get into it now, but there's a couple of good ones on Netflix about how creative the FBI got.
Yeah. Well, he
1993.
is in a box now, so that makes
That's
sense.
true.
Yeah.
Lorena Bobbitt maims her husband
Uh,
with a kitchen knife. Now, here's a quick funny story for the people that don't care about crazy trivia. So, you know how the porn industry always comes up with funny names, like The Devil Wears Prada? They came out
yep.
with one called The Devil Wears Nada. So, rather ironically, John Wayne Bobbitt, right? He couldn't get a job. He couldn't sustain a career. So actually, he was offered to do a porn movie, and people, of course, I've got to see this, right? The name of that movie was something, The Final Cut. I don't remember the name or whatever. I just heard
Wow.
about it. They always come up with something good. All right, moving on. 2009, unfortunately, Michael Jackson dies at age 50. Propanol and whatever the hell else he'd been taken for years. And those
Yeah.
doctors went to jail. That's just
And they
ridiculous.
deserve to. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I
Wow.
forgot. I don't remember this.
This is your
Walenda.
second Walinda in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, I know. That was funny, right? The other one too that we had. Walenda crosses a little Grand Canyon on a high wire.
Yep. Yeah,
And
two
okay,
Walindas in a
so
week, man.
I'm just saying, I called it, folks. During the war, sometime in March or even early April, I had said that Saudi Arabia, to avoid the Strait of Hormuz, what did I say? Saudi Arabia should do something. Do you remember what I
Hmm.
said Saudi Arabia should do?
Yeah, they should pop a pipeline and just bypass the whole dang thing.
Build their own Panama Canal.
Yep. Okay.
So
Well, that
Brian
too.
Sullivan from CNBC, who I love, basically suggested the same damn thing.
Uh, why not?
I Why not? First of all, I don't think the other Middle Eastern countries, because I think Iran holds a little too much power with that Strait of Hormuz, and we know this deal is not going to hold up, whether it's now 6 months or 6 years from now, it's not going to hold up. And Saudi Arabia, the smartest thing they would do is do something across that strait, give up the
Hmm.
balance of that land, and avoid all the other BS.
The only problem is it's not their land to give up. It's United Arab Emirates and Oman that would have to give up in this case.
Yeah, but my point is, think about the technology they had 120 years ago to build the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take long,
Oh no, it wouldn't take long at all, and it's not near as long.
couple of years,
Yeah,
maybe.
literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly, it's what I would do, and I think Oman would agree with it. There's not really much there, and they could get a cut on it. They're already trying to figure out a way to collude with Iran on this whole thing anyhow. So why not give up a little bit of territory, put that in there? UAE and Oman make some money on it, and this whole issue, yeah,
That would completely make Iran's power renderless. I mean, it would
moot.
render them
Yeah.
powerless because at this point, it's just like, all right, you could choose which way you want to go. I
Mhm.
don't know. I just
Yeah.
thought it was interesting this was put out there because I mentioned.
Honestly, I think they should do it. And the other side of the coin, I'd run pipelines across the desert in Saudi Arabia and dump it out below there where their Saudi territory is out in the Gulf of Oman. Just build a facility there. They've got the money.
I agree. All right. And then the last one I had talked about, and this is not to get political, but the prior administration frowned on a lot of M&A and killed a lot of
Mm,
M&A, especially in the biotech space, which was one of my big themes from
yeah.
October, November of 24 to current. And by the way, the IBB, the mega and large cap biotech, just hit an all-time high yesterday, and I believe today
Mm,
too. We're seeing, and this is not a biotech M&A chart, but you can
mm,
just see here that if you just look from a year ago, where the deal counts are across different sectors. So if we're looking at this, I'm looking at healthcare and biotech to continue to tick up. I thought finance was interesting because we all know that the small and the regional banks always get eaten up over time. I just find this just to be incredible that there's 750 to 800 deals in a period of time. I just think that's amazing.
yeah. But you figure that most of these small to mid-sized banks, I know a lot of senior bankers at a lot of these mid-sized banks. It's what they're created for. They're not created to be, we want to be the community bank forever. The people that start these things that's their exit plan is we're going to build it big enough that somebody's going to come in and acquire us. That's their exit and that's how they do it.
And it's not
Yeah.
just, as you can see on the top chart there, it's not just the deal volume, it's the
Mm.
deal value
Yeah.
that will just continue to tick up. And look, SpaceX just did it, right? What did they do the day after or two trading days after they went public? They immediately went out
Mm.
and bought a company. They made a
Yep.
deal. They're going to make more. Anthropic and OpenAI have to do the exact same
Yeah.
thing if they want to continue to grow because not everything now you can't just grow organically. You've got to grow by eating up competition.
That's precisely correct. Interestingly enough, I like that the one at the top of the chart there. It's not the largest, but the deal count in commercial services and the amount of M&A going on in that area is
Yeah, I
really
don't know
intriguing.
exactly what makes up commercial services.
Going to be all your plumbing and electrical and stuff like that. So I think that's really intriguing to me that you're seeing so much consolidation there. I
If
think
you
it's
just
smart consolidation because you get bigger projects if you can have a bigger company.
Yeah, but not only that too, but if all these deals are going down, take a look at this, right? 3,761 deals in a
Yeah.
year. This is why it's no longer the Wilshire 5,000. There's really only 3,200
Mhm.
to 3,300
Yeah.
stocks. So I just find it interesting the world we live in, and obviously M&A is what also drives the market higher because it drives the values higher too.
Absolutely.
All right,
All
what do you
right.
got?
Let me key this thing up. So, a little bit of economic data for this week I thought was, whoa, hello, stop sharing. Tried to click on something and it went nutso on me. All right. Taking a look at the Econo Day for this week. I think it's interesting and intriguing to me
Your
every time.
screen's not showing yet. Oh, there it is.
All
Okay,
right.
good.
All right. So interesting and intriguing to me to see a little bit of what's been going on in the, let me move this thing out of the way. There we go. The
The
little
durable
share
good
thing.
orders. We got it.
Yeah. All right. You look at, you're trying to figure out, okay, where's the economy going? How is the war and oil and everything affected the market? I think there's some good and there's some bad in this report. I think durable goods orders coming out today. Now, part of this is, and I was looking down here, that they said volatile aircraft orders, which makes sense. I think you've got a lot of craziness going on in the airline industry, especially with the loss of what would be a sort of major player, the worst airline I've ever been on. But Spirit Airlines, that's a pretty major player with actually a lot of relatively new planes that are going to have to get absorbed somewhere. They're not just going to be sitting. I think yes, this kind of makes sense, but that's a pretty big move from the prior one that was positive 7.9% down 4.5. So something to look at. I think it's the scatter effect down from there. One thing that we've been covering for a while has been new home sales. I got a good friend that I do a podcast with here in Austin that We talk about the real estate market and finance and stuff like that, and having conversations with him. And he's a very productive realtor, and he's been shell shocked right now with the way the market has been. We're seeing new home sales. They've continued to go down, and people are just not wanting to make decisions right now. And that's what he's seeing. They don't want to put they don't want to put their house on the market, and they don't want to buy a new house because they're just concerned about what's going on in the economy and everything else. And of course, our media just bludgeoning it to death every day, both financial and regular media, doesn't help when it comes to that.
Well,
But
also interest rates are still too damn high.
they are, yeah, interest rates are
They got
very
to go
high,
sub
and
5.5 in order for there to be a mini boom.
yeah,
Under 6 for there to be some momentum.
yeah. And I think the first thing you're going to see is if we get any help there, the first thing you're going to see is some major refinances for the people that did have to move.
Yes, absolutely.
That's,
At
that's where you're going to
5.5.
see the
Yeah.
move. Yeah, you're going to see the move. And I've had meetings this week, not only with my friend that does that, but I've got a really good friend that's got a mortgage company, and he's saying the same thing. He goes, I had anticipated doing, I think he did 75 deals last year, and he figured he was going to double it this year. And I'm going to be lucky to just match last year's number at this point because of the deal volume is just down so much. Now, here's for the good. So PMI continues to be high and
Expansion.
actually rising on a regular basis here. So we were 51 before. Anything over 50 means we're in a growth phase, and we're at 52 as of this. Interestingly enough, after now 6, 7 months, we finally caught up from the government shutdown. So I didn't find any data that's been delayed because of the government shutdown after 6 months. GDP this morning, I think, shocked a lot of people because they were expecting it to be down, and it blew out the range up 2.1%. So much, much, much better.
That's a hell of a range, 1.3 to 2.5. I
Oh, I
mean,
know. They'll put certain things they'll have a tight range. Other ones are like, we have no idea. And anytime we get in these type of situations, you'll see the economists just open this thing up like a Mack truck so they can all say, yeah, it was within the range. But that's a huge range. And interestingly enough, the annual rate on personal consumption expenditures within the GDP was actually just 0.5%, from down from 1.4. It's interesting when you hear, yes, we've got a lot of inflation, and we do, but it's interestingly enough that the data is showing a little bit different. The final thing is, this is what the Fed looks at. Of all the data that's out there, this is what the Fed really cares about, and it's the core PCE. And core PCE, of course, they've been concerned that oil and everything has had an effect, and it's caused a rise in inflation. And core PCE came out basically right in within the range, which this one they didn't have a truck to drive through. 0.2 to zero point 0.4 came in at 0.3, right at the consensus. The revised number was 0.3, so we didn't really see anything more spike up. Core PCE year over year was 3.3. It's now at 3.4. So once again, yes, things could be a lot worse. Yes, it doesn't feel good to still be paying. Even here in Texas, we're paying slightly over $3. I think last fill up was 3.20 here in Texas. I would
you have the cheapest
expect,
gas.
yeah, we're right next to the production. Actually, Oklahoma's the cheapest in the country
Yeah.
because they've got
California
all
and
the,
Arizona, the two highest.
yeah. So we're seeing good things happen, or not necessarily good, but not bad things happen with this. Oil, I think I looked at it this morning, was like $67, West Texas Intermediate, 69 Brent. That's a 35% drop from the highs. That's going to start having some effect going in. The interesting thing was, I was listening to the news on the way in, and they were talking about the cost of fertilizer because the urea plants in Iran, and they were saying cost of fertilizer has come down dramatically since the straits have reopened, but they're not sure if Iran can get their production up enough to keep that going for the next cycle of when the farmers need their fertilizer and things like that, because they haven't been able to really assess any damage that was done, which I don't think we really did any damage to that type of stuff. We were blowing up other things.
I'm still trying to figure out what the true net benefit of all that was at this point. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's once again, we'll see. It's going to be a long process, but I think going back to what we were talking about in the last part of your segment, I think the smartest thing that the other Gulf countries could do is everybody put up some money. UAE and Oman give up a little bit of land, which is all desert anyhow, and put another Panama Canal through there or another Suez Canal through there.
Yeah, I
And
wonder if Brian Sullivan was listening to our podcast when I mentioned it 3 months ago.
I know. Once again, it's then you eliminate their power completely and
Yes.
they have no control over the strait. It's you run ships through there. Both countries make a lot of money in that
We'll have to
process.
find another way to make money other than extorting money from people.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure they will find some way.
So next week we got July 4th coming up.
Absolutely, which is awesome. Looking forward to that and another long holiday weekend. So we'll enjoy that. Markets are closed on Friday the 3rd. We'll close up or start off July and then have a day off in there to begin everything. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're here for you guys. We put these out for you. So make sure that you share the show with somebody as well. We'll see you guys back here the next time.